Nintendo Switch games, there are many out there, but let's do a quick chit chat about which one are fun to play with racing wheels, because we do have a lot of games, but not all of them are compatible with them. So stay tuned and let's start with some gaming on the Nintendo Switch. Okay, so let's start off with some WRC08. And fun game to play. I love rally simulation games, but is this thing actually a lot of fun with racing wheels? That we're going to find out. So let's grab a couple of, let's say, racing wheels and just see how they will actually, how will it work, and is it any fun? Because the WRC8 on the Switch. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in, because in this video it's going to be Mario Kart time. Absolutely, because we're going to take a close look at this hoary Nintendo Switch racing wheel. In my previous video we talked about that really dirty cheap one for a couple of euros, but I just wanted to check out how is this Pro Deluxe from Hori. I've reviewed a couple of products from Hori, if it's arcade sticks, but also when it comes to other products, and I must say that I'm always quite intrigued by them. And this looks quite nice, but also very deluxe. But let's take a close look. What are the features and what can we actually do with this? We do have extra buttons on the wheel itself. It's going to be more convenient to play with racing games that doesn't support the pedals, but also having real shifters. So that's quite interesting. So let's take a close look at the product itself and let's do a quick unboxing. And of course, let's break the seal together. The first thing that I just wanted to check out, is this thing going to be any worth the money? Because you do pay like way more than when you're looking at like the cheap one. WRC08, a game I just picked up and I just wanted to see how it actually works. Because this is a very cool racing game, or better said a rally game that we can play with the racing wheel. So out of the box, when it comes to the shifter, that works just fine. But unfortunate, I didn't have a great overall experience when it comes to everything, when it has with the preset. So I needed to mess around and try to get the acceleration working. Pressing the button over here, we can map it to the A, and the handbrake will be also disabled. Otherwise, we're going to not start driving at all. So just something I just wanted to do, and what you can see over here, the brake, but also the acceleration seems to be working fine now.
And hairpin left into hairpin right.
It is from the brand name called Game Zone. I personally never heard of it, and that's also one of the reasons I just wanted to pick it up. I think the form factor of the device looks quite cool, and I was thinking, is this thing any good, or is it absolutely like a completely e-waste? The Game Zone Tracer is a 4-in-1 that can be connected with PC, PS3, PlayStation 4, Xbox One. But I just wanted to see if it's going to be working on the Switch. Let's get this show on the road and let's see what we're actually going to get inside the package itself. So there was one thing I need to point out, that there is no Nintendo Switch support on the box itself. But there is, and I've tested it out. The question remains, of course, what are we actually going to get with the overall quality? That is what I wanted to take a close look at first. The pedals, I must say they are completely made out of plastic, or most parts, but they feel kind of heavy. Then I have the instruction manual, that's only in English and Polish. Okay, that is kind of interesting, to be honest. So this is clearly marketed for a different market here in Europe. WRC8, I have tried this with different wheels and there was always some weird problem with it. But there were a couple of things you can do with this racing wheel, also with some other wheels sometimes. But I really like it, so let's check everything out. The acceleration needs to be remapped, but also the shifts up and down needs to be set to the right position. There is unfortunate a dead zone, so it makes this game quite difficult to the point or unplayable to play. But let's take a close look at the programming option. Pressing the option to program, what you can do is saying, hey, I want to map the A button, that is acceleration, to my left or right pedal.
And right 3. And right 5 short, brake for left 2, 30. Right 5, 30. Right 4, short into left 5. Hairpin left, don't cut, 50.
The configuration of the shifter and the race wheel, I really like it. It's absolutely great for WRC8. But the unfortunate thing is that when you're going to try this game with a dead zone, it's freaking impossible to play. Simply because you need to react so fast on some corners that it's not possible with dead zone like this. I try to race slowly, but you can see instantly I mess up. Echt really annoying. I tested them out on different kind of video games and it just was really figuring out which of the racing wheels are really worth picking up. The first one, the tiny one, is absolutely dirty cheap and it's a very fun piece of, let's say, equipment to get for your Switch. But if you want to get into racing, particularly when you're looking at different games besides Mario Kart 8, which of the racing wheels really appeal to me? That is what we're going to talk about in this video. There are a lot of different ways. I grabbed a couple of different games to see how is the compatibility with these games. Are they working right out of the box? We have two racing wheels. Basically they are two different wheels apart. The left one is just a very cheap tiny wheel, just a fun novelty, and the right one is more like a serious racing wheel in my opinion. But how is the overall quality in general? This thing is very lightweighted. It is like absolutely plastic fantastic, but not the chemical stuff that we have seen from China itself. So the overall quality is okay, to be honest. It's just a very tiny and also very cool wheel to see. I really love the way they made the colors of the Mario theme, implemented it in a hoary tiny wheel. This is old school. It is 180 degrees and it has just a basic, let's say, nice grip to it. There is nothing, let's say, deluxe out of it. I find it very fascinating to see how they can actually make this for the money, because you're not paying a lot for this. Take consideration also, this is a basic wheel, so I think if you want to get into the basic stuff like called racing, this is just a fun thing. The D-pad feels quite nice, to be honest. I think I can even play some Street Fighter with it, but all the other buttons are like clickish buttons. A little bit of a, let's say, in cheap feel to it. And of course the middle one to assign the yellow buttons. I think it's very cool that we have the option for that. We do have shifters, they're going to be convenient, something I wanted to check out with some games if it's actually going to be any good. Then in the middle of the wheel we have the option to switch between the D-pad or the joystick, and yeah, this is going to be convenient if you need to navigate through the menu or in certain game needs to have like the joystick, so we can switch between that. At the bottom we're going to get some old school suction knobs. Of course it's not going to be working like this, so let's give you an example how the cheap wheel is just a fun novelty. I already mentioned this before. But don't get me wrong, it's not like the super cheap Chinese chemical plastic thing that we have seen many times before. No, it's a very cool wheel, but let's take a close look at the other one. The racing wheel itself, I must say that it is a very huge wheel compared with the previous one. It doesn't have the 900 degrees rotation, so it's going to be old school racing like in the 90s. No rumble and also no force feedback. The USB cable that comes with it is, by the way, very long. But what are we actually going to get with the racing wheels? It's quite similar when looking at the cheap one. We have the option to assign buttons if you want to. I think it's a very cool option to give you this, so if you have problems setting up a game, we have the option to do it through the assign button. But other single button, yeah, feels quite cheap. It's just your normal typical like cheap button feel, but nothing special or nothing bad. So what I did notice, there is no horn button in the middle, but we did have with the cheap one. Beside that, it does feel very nice when we play around with it, but when you're looking at the shifters, they're also made from plastic. Then of course we're having the special switch that we can switch between the D-pad, left stick and the right stick. Very convenient if you don't have any movement in the game itself. The body's made out of plastic. It feels also quite lightweighted. But yeah, there is no force feedback in this, so that's also the reason why. But let's take a close look at the bracket. So what you need to do, attaching it is super easy. You just need to put it on there, put the bolt in, and that's it. How good it actually works when it comes to putting it on the table. And it gives an absolutely great suction because this thing is very well placed with the 4 suction knobs. So it's an easy solution, but it works quite great. Let's take a quick look at the pedals. 2 different pedals, but which one is great, which one is just horrible. I'm quite surprised to see that we did have some pedals coming with this thing. Yeah, there is nothing special about it, because what you're going to get are just basic 2 pedals. There is no resistance whatsoever for the brake. So yeah, this is as basic it can be. It's fun that it has it because it makes it way more like very fun to play racing games with some gas and brake pedal. Both cables are long enough if you want to place the pedals under the table, of course, and you just plug it in with this old school phone cable connection. The pedals, let's put it to the metal, and I must say that they look quite nice. And they also have different springs, so for the brake and for the acceleration we do get different springs in the inside. We can fold it open like that, and it will be so much better to play like this. So it's even compact. If you don't want to use it, you don't have the room, or you don't want to use it at all. Alright, so when it comes to the Switch games, the WRC08 is a lot of fun to play, but not very great compatibility with racing wheels. Thank you all for watching, and it will be great to see you in the next video.